Jai Gurudev, everybody. Welcome back. So today, actually, I was saying earlier, there's some messages that people were asking what I'm doing in the bag. Actually, what we are doing, we are chanting the divine name. So inside the bag, there is a rosary called a mala, and which we rotate it like this inside, mala beads. So we are chanting on 8 beads, which is 108, the name of God. So today was interesting. I was looking outside earlier. I noticed that there is a lot of plane flying around, also helicopters, and also wondering what is happening. Maybe he's back again to normality. So I don't know. Now it's quiet again. And I was reading something very interesting earlier. It's about a very old man, a 99 years old man in England, walking 100 times the length of his garden. Actually, it's a quite a long garden. So with this what the old people push, they walk. And he's doing that as charity, collecting money for the NRS or whatever, something like that. I don't know what it is about really. But to see that, that such a old person is doing that, and he have already collecting in 1 week 13 million pound, which is very good actually, So, and he's doing it not for himself; he's doing it for donation during this time, on pandemic, where people are suffering, and he's doing that from himself. In few weeks he will be 100 years old, and it's such an inspiration actually when you see people. Maybe he was a veteran. He fought in the World War II and so on. Of course, people don't hear about them. But when they do something like this, you see, people will always remember you, what you have contributed for this world, for your country, in a simple way. He can't do much. What he's doing, he's just pushing his walking thing, I don't know how you call it, and there he's just going 100 times, and they said, okay, even he can't walk, but yet he is contributing something for this world, So imagine what you can contribute. I'm not telling you have to do the same thing, but be inspired inside of you what you can contribute to this world, really, Few actually months in January, actually, when we were in India, we went to see a wonderful lady called Sendal Thai, and she was so sweet. This lady, if you hear her story, really, it's amazing. We spent some hours with her. She was so joyful. She's called the mother of 1,500 children. And it's an amazing story. Right now I can't tell you the story, but I did tell the story. Sendal Thai, you can find it on the internet also. And very inspiring, actually. If one person can do that, be inspired by that. So, Jai Gopal.
Jai Gurudev, dear Guruji. We often hear that God has put us where we have to be. So, is it wrong to stop doing a certain seva if we struggle to do it with our hearts, instead of choosing another seva that is easier for us to do with love and where we feel more at home?
You see, everybody look for easy things to do in life, And, well, look, if you're doing a seva and you feel pressure into that, then it is not a seva. Because when you do a service, there must be this love into it. You must have this joy in what you are doing. You see, not everybody like to do what they have been asked to do, But in life it is like that, you see. We will not get always things that we want to do. Because everybody would like to have an easy life. Tell me somebody who would not like to have an easy life. But does easy things really make us attain to where we have to? I don't think so. Don't think that when you see a saint in deep meditation, it is easy for him. No, it is not. It is through hardship of many years that he have attained to that level. So like that, you see, I will say, yes, okay, you can change your seva and do other seva, but yet you have not understand really the true meaning of seva itself, the true meaning of service. Because in the true meaning of service means you should forget about yourself and place whatever dharma, whatever have been given to you, do it with love. What you have to do is to change the attitude, how you see things, how you see that service, Because in the question that you are saying right now, you are saying, yes, but I don't feel it. Yeah, but you see, if this is taken and put another thing, also you will not feel it. Because yet you have not understood that service must be done in a selfish way. And when we talk about selfish, means you should learn not to put yourself first, but put the service which you are doing first. When you put that service which you are doing first, that you will see, you will enjoy it much more. Right now, due to putting yourself first, the ego feel hurt, the ego feel disturbed, So why? I can't do that. Why should I do this kind of service? So I should do something more passionate. I should do something which I love to do. But in reality, would you learn something from that? No, you will not learn anything. Because you see, as easy you get something to do, you will take it for granted. You will become lazy about it. You will not really enjoy that. But if a certain challenges are there, you will learn more through challenges than when it is easy. So through the challenge, you will learn to transcend your ego. You will learn to transcend, firstly, yourself, like this pity self which we always look and say, yes, I'm fed up with this, it's too much for me and all this stuff. But yet when we talk about service, when we talk about seva, firstly we should forget about this pity self. We should put that which is stopping us aside, which means that mindset which say, no, I can't do it. Change it, say, no, I can do it. I love to do it. Because you see, what we are doing in service, we are doing for the Lord. And if He have given us this duty in our life, we should assume it, we should love it, we should embrace it. Like that, we purified ourselves, we transform ourselves. So when you are purified and you are transforming, you become humble. And in a state of humbleness, this is where love awake. When you are arrogant and pride, full of ego, love doesn't find its place there. So understand, my dear, truly, it's not about what kind of service you are doing, but with which attitude you are doing. And for what is the aim of that service, The aim you're serving the Lord Himself. And if that is clear, you will enjoy, even if it is very hard, because you know deeply that if he knows what is right for you, you trust into that. And if you trust into what he said, you will see that how easy it becomes. That love, what you say, yes, if I do something, another kind of seva at home, much easier, and no, you see, you will enjoy it only for a short time. And then after that, it will disappear. You will find other excuse to run away. This is where many people enter into service. You see, when it's hard, you give your best to make the thing better. You give your best to serve. When you give your best, there is a certain inner satisfaction that awake. And that inner satisfaction, when it awake, it gives you such a strength inside of you that you can do much more than that. Whereas when you say, yes, okay, I will do something easy, but I love, yes, you will do it. Also, again, like I said, you will start to do it, but it will last a very short time. You will do it for a certain time, then you will find excuse not even to do the service itself. Because it's easy, you see, and as easy it is coming, easy it is going. So get to know what is service really, and when you are serving, knows that you are serving the Supreme Lord Himself, in whatever He have given you, love it.
In the story of King Ambarisha, how come Sage Durvasa had such anger? Is a sage not able to overcome the three gunas? And if sages can't overcome them, what chance do we have?
Yes, the Bhagavad is telling the story of Sage Durvasa. And Sage Durvasa was known to be a very easily angered saint. But you see, angry of a saints or sages is not to be taken as something bad. Because you see, if he was just soft, okay, will people recognize him? No, there is many sages who was very soft and very nice and very kind, but people didn't recognize them. But King Ambarisha, because of his character, he was very tough with himself firstly, and of course, you see, with others, because he also didn't want that other people just make a fool of spirituality. Like nowadays, you see, somebody sent me a message yesterday that what people are saying about Ramayana, for example, how Indian themselves are making such a fool of their own culture. And it is sad to see that. You will not see that in other religion. You never see a Christian making fun of Jesus. You will not see a Muslim making fun of Allah. But yet, you see that in our culture itself, How, in Hinduism, Hindu themselves, because they lack knowledge of understanding the deepness of the Holy Scriptures, they make fun of it. So you need certain rishi like Durvasa, Rishi Durvasa, to remind everybody. If everything goes soft, nobody appreciates anything. Today morning, somebody sent me a message, they said, coronavirus, a letter from coronavirus, and I was listening to it. Said, it is like nature talking, you see. The letter, I don't remember every word to word, but it said, look, I have sent catastrophe in the world. You have not learned anything. After an earthquake, you have not learned anything. I have sent many natural disasters, yet you have not learned anything. But yet, now with this, what have come, people is learning. And I hope that learning is not just for now. So I was listening to that, and then I wrote to that person, and I said, I hope the next moment that the lockdown is over, people don't go back to their old pity self, but they have truly learned something from that, And the answer that come back from was, actually, on the social media, they also say they are longing. When would the pub open? When would they go and eat in a restaurant? When would they? You see already the state of the mind of people. You see that all samskaras is kicking again back. Have they learned something? Have humanity learned something from all this what is happening? It seems no, if people are reasoning in that way. So, how to make these people understand? This is a lack of awareness in the world. That's why devotees and people which is on the spiritual path should shine what they have inside. Like Durvasa, he was a very great saint, sages, even being very angered doesn't mean that he could not control his this anger inside of his senses. He was well in control of it. But he have to act in that way to show a certain discipline. Look, when we analyze, you see, if he would not be angry with King Ambarisha, do you think we will have such a beautiful Leela of Bhagwan where he said, I can't forgive you, To forgive, you need to have a heart. But my heart is not with me. My heart is with my devotee, And you see, all this is just a Leela to show how is that relationship between Bhagwan and his devotee. And it is such a beautiful, even we have to be grateful to Sage Durvasa itself. Because through that experience, through that story, we see that a devotee is a temple of Bhagwan himself. And how we treat the devotee, how we treat each another is very important. Because you don't know who is in front of you. You don't know when the Supreme Lord himself will come in whatever form. And he will be in front of you. Coming to that, I remember somebody sent me a story, a beautiful story. If I remember everything, I will tell you. So during this lockdown, Lord Vitthal, he's always standing on a brick. So he decided, because every temple is closed down now, in India. So even Panduranga temple in Pandharpur is closed down. So he decided to step down from the brick. So he went back to Dwarka. So as he entered Dwarka, he saw that everywhere is so quiet. It's locked down everywhere. So in the palace, there were nobody, no servant, because all servant was sent back home, coronavirus. So they were sent back home. So he saw Rukmini brooming. And he said, what are you doing? I said, well, because of the lockdown, everybody had been sent home, so I'm cleaning. So then she asked the Lord, he said, how come you are here? Normally you come very early in the morning, you come very late at night after Shayan Arti, and early morning you go back. So he said, well, right now there's nobody, so I'm here. So I will be here with you. Let's have some quality time, Let's have some good time together. How it used to be in olden days. And so Rukmini said, okay, what can you do? And I said, okay, you can help me in the course of, we can start cleaning. And Vittal said, you want me to clean? I don't know how to do that. But maybe you can, look, I will be there. Later on we can just have lunch together, and I will do some things there. And Rukmini said, wait. You said you don't know how to do any chores in the house, but I will remind you. When Chokamela was there, you could go and bring his cow for grass eating. This you could do. When Dhanabai was there, you could go and help Dhanabai to grind the flour and do all the chores of the house. When you could go to Eknath and carry his water and clean his house. And to Sakubai, you could go there and do her housework. So like that, through all the saints, she was saying, and Bhagwan was a bit nervous, and said, okay, on that point, what can I say? Now I'm telling you that I can't do anything, but yet you catch me. But for the sake of my devotee, I did so many things. So Rukmini was carry on, So at that same precise moment, Garuda came and announced that Narada have just arrived. And Bhagwan was so happy. This is a escaping boy. So Garuda came, Narada came, and Narada whispered something in the ears, of Vittal, and he left, And Vittal was quickly he went and started collecting, he changed his clothes and he started collecting things. And he started packing in his bag and he was ready to leave. And Rukmini said, where are you going? And I said, oh, well, you see, there was an emergency, People are they need my help, because of this coronavirus. I need to go and help the people, And I said, but Rukmini said, well, the lunch is ready. Eat, then you go. I said, no, I can't. I have to go. So quickly he rushed out, and behind Rukmini was carrying the food, like always, because the Lord is always on the move. So Rukmini was not disturbed by that. He was saying, oh, this is a normal thing. So she packed the food and she was running behind him. And as when she of course came back down to earth, and he saw that the Lord have assumed the form of a policeman. And he was telling the people, no, you go back home, and in this, Rukmini brought the food for him, and that food that he had, he even gave that food away. So, and then he was just standing with his hand like this. So you see, the story, even if it is very fictional, it is such a beautiful story, showing how much Bhagwan care at all time, So even in this story, when you said that Sage Durvasa was angered, actually to show he became angry, yes, he allowed it to be angry, just to show how much love he have for his devotee. And where does he dwell truly? I say, he don't dwell in Vaikuntha, he dwell in the heart of the devotee. And that's what we have to recognize, And of course, like I said to you earlier, when you look at sages, very often they will be angry and they will be tough, because these rishis, they were teaching the people, because you see, like I said earlier, when our life is easy going, we don't want to change it, because it is easy, because we know that life is just this, we are born, we go through life, we work, we have a family, we work again, you collect this money and we die afterwards, So like that, millions of lives you have done the same thing. But whenever there is a strong command, then you start to listen. The same way, coronavirus have given a good slap to humanity. Now we start to look at, see, if you are wise, you start to look and care for nature itself, and also yourself. Many people are not going out. Why? In this moment you realize how important it is for you to live. Your life is very important. And you hear thousands of people are dying left and right, all the country. Now you start to think about how important is life. So like that, sometimes nature have to give a slap also, So the same, the rishi also at that time, sometimes they have to be angry to show certain discipline or certain, make you understand or make you aware of what you have to change something inside of you. So I think the Leela which Bhagwan have enacted in that is to show really where the Lord reside. That's why he have used Durvasa Rishi for that case.
Guruji, I am a Muslim and I love you very much. My friends do not accept different religions, and so it is hard to speak openly about your love and your devotees. I want to hang your pictures on the wall, but in our culture they will criticize it. What should I do?
Look, whether you're Muslim, you're Christian, or you are Hindu, whatever, firstly, you have to know that we are all human beings, And of course, there are different ways, people have different understanding of things, in that culture where you come from. You don't have image, And of course, to put an image of somebody on the wall, it's an often. Until really men appreciate that, what I will say is that just you don't need to have my picture on the wall. You can have it in your phone, You can have it in your room personally. You don't need to show it on the outside, because look, if people will criticize you for that, of course, you see, if you are strong enough, then hell to the people. But if it is creating a lot of problem, then it's better just to avoid the problem. Follow the teaching and grow inwardly. Let this love inside of you grow. It's not about the picture outside. It's about having the picture inside of you. It's nice to have a picture outside, but it's much nicer to have the picture inside of you. And you see, you don't need to talk about me, it's very difficult. Just talk about the love of God. There's no different. And this is what I am here to remind, My life is about showing people how to transcend their limitation of what humanity have think about always, being just a human being, but to transform into the divine self which is inside of you. And this is beyond all religion. I refer very often to Bhagavad Gita because what Krishna have spoken to humanity. All the great masters who have come, they have given their knowledge of love for humanity. It's not only for one kind of person. So love is universal, and God is universal. So,
Jai Gurudev Guruji, how can we discriminate between longing for God and the lust, not in a sexual sense, for God when we want to possess Him?
sorry. Look, I will not use the word lust because you see, when you have a lustful way towards God, it means already in a sexual way. Yearning for Him, when your heart is burning. So this is what it is. So you can have many expression of that yearning, like we talk about bhavs, a few Satsang back I was explaining about bhav. Different people have different bhav which awake inside of them, different emotion which awake inside of their heart. And also due to your relationship to Him through lives, you see, that kind of yearning will awake inside of you. So some people can love Him in whatever way, but that's what is the most important thing, in life actually. If you have that yearning for Him, that longing for Him, so let it intensified inside of you, and until you are suffocated, you can't really breathe. Like coronavirus is saying right now, you can't breathe really. When you're fully with corona, when you hear the testimony of many people who had it, they said you can't breathe, and it is terrible. And it's a very terrible, has a feeling. But love is the same kind of feeling. You see, very often people talk about love. I'm asking myself, how many people really know what is to love really? You see, you talk about love, but yet you forget quickly about it. Whereas when we talk about this yearning and longing, you can't forget about this love easily. Even if you want to forget about it, you can't forget about it. Like Surdas, said to Krishna, in one of his writing, he said, you are the Supreme Lord, and you are the Lord of love, you are the Lord of everything. You can do everything, that's what I heard, but can you take that love out of me? That's what he said to Krishna. Actually, Krishna looked down and said, no, I can't. This is one thing that I can't. I can't take that love inside of you, because that's what I also yearn for. That's what I also long for. I long that my devotee, that love of my devotee, that's what I hungered about. There's nothing else that I hungered about. There was a saint called Bhujan Gosai, something like that. This Bhujan Gosai, he was a great devotee of Gadadhar Pandit, actually, which was a devotee, close association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this Bhujan Gosai, when he heard about the greatness of Krishna, he left everything and he surrendered. He came to Vrindavan and he lived in Vrindavan, doing his japam and really absorbed into the chanting of the divine name, being absorbed into the meditation upon Lord Krishna. And he finds such great bliss inside of him. So his sadhana was that every day he will go for Govardhan Parikrama. So he will leave his ashram and he will go for Govardhan Parikrama. Every day that was his sadhana. And when he will walk, he will be in such a bhav, in such a mood, that he was not aware. So as he was walking once, his foot hit a huge stone. And of course he hurt himself badly and blood was coming out and he could not walk afterwards. So he sat there and he was in pain. Imagine that time, 1500, he was in pain. So as time passed by, he limped, he could not walk. But in his mind, he was more worried, it's not about his feet, he was more worried about how he will finish his service, because he have to go back to his ashram and he have to do service, bhog service, he have to offer bhog to Thakurji, he have to offer sleep to Thakurji. That was his worry, it was not about his feet, he forgot about his feet. So he didn't even ask Bhagwan, but seeing that his devotee is suffering, Lord Krishna came in disguise as a sadhu. He came in disguise as a very well-built sadhu, and he said, I will help you, I'll bring you to your ashram. I said, no, you are a sadhu, even if you are very muscle, you are a sadhu still, I don't want to, I should serve you, you can't take me. So he insisted. So the sadhu, what he did, Krishna in the form of the sadhu, what he did, he just took Bhulgarbha Gosai and put it on his shoulder and carry him to his ashram. So coming to his ashram, he put him down, and Gosai was very thankful, and he turned to say thank you to him. When he turned, he could not find anybody. And of course, inside of his heart, he could feel such a bliss inside of him. But he recognized that it was the Lord himself which have come to serve him, to help him to come from the place where he was to his ashram, so that he can carry on his service. But in place of becoming happy about that, he became so sad. And his sadness was, that how can he serve me? I have to serve him. My life, I have given my life to serve him, but yet he came and served me. The saints have such this humbleness inside of them. So saying, he felt so bad, and he fell asleep. And when he was sleeping, he had a dream where Bhagwan came in his dream and said to him, said, Gosai, you don't need to feel bad, because I can't look at the pain of my devotee. When my devotee is in pain, I am in pain. Look how wonderful, When my devotee is in pain, I am in pain. It is nothing that I have carried you. You should forget about that, I want my devotee to be happy. And their happiness makes me more happy. So hearing that, Bhulgarbha woke up, and of course he felt at ease and at peace inside of him. So, just to show you, how much Bhagwan cares, for each one. More than we care for ourselves, when we have taken shelter to Guru and God, they take care in their way. Maybe you will not recognize it, You will not see it, you will not feel it, but they do take care of each one. And they do carry each one. So, Jai Gurudev, everyone.